Hello again. Every so often I read a bit in The Guardian which I honestly think must be a spoof, so mad does it sound. However, humour and practical jokes are not really something which The Guardian goes in for. The staff there are a pretty po-faced and humourless bunch, so generally what you read in the newspaper is meant to be taken at face value. But linguistic justice? Now, the British Empire did a lot of really, really bad things. Of that there can be no doubt whatsoever. But I always thought that the one good thing it achieved, the one positive, was to give the world a universal language. Although more people speak Chinese than English in the world, if you're going to be dropped at random anywhere on the planet, then English is probably the best language to speak. In Africa, South Asia and Europe, it's usually the second language of choice. That's a good thing, right? At one time, people used to fool around with artificial languages like Esperanto in the hope of creating a world language, but the world itself has chosen English to fulfill that role. Why should we in this country feel guilty about that? Well, let me quote from the article in The Guardian, to which I give a link in the description to this video. The article is headed, by the way, "English still rules the world, but that's not necessarily okay. Is it time to curb its power?" So having a world language is not necessarily such a good thing after all. The author, who is clearly some kind of intellectual, says that those who learn English as a second language incur learning costs, while native speakers can communicate without incurring such costs. It's like getting the latest smartphone model and SIM card with unlimited data for free. Well, I've never quite seen it that way, but now he mentions it, that is pretty unfair, isn't it? Nobody watching this video had to pay for English lessons. I'll be bound. Which is a bit like cheating, really. It's simply not fair. And this is where linguistic justice comes into the picture. This situation is, as the writer explains, a result of the colonial legacy. This is, of course, quite true, but I think it's a good legacy, and it's had the effect of drawing the world closer together, I think. What about foreign scientists who wish to submit an academic paper in English, though, but make spelling mistakes and grammatical errors? That's not fair either, is it? We have a definite advantage in such matters because we were born in England and learned the language from birth, and it didn't cost us a penny. I do hope that you're all feeling ashamed of yourself for having such an unfair advantage over foreigners. How can we redress this shocking situation and make amends for being born in England? Well, it seems that an expert on linguistic justice from some university in a foreign city I've never heard of has suggested a linguistic tax on English-speaking countries to compensate for the costs of teaching English in other countries. This would involve establishing a global tax on countries where the majority of the population speak English as a native language, and then distributing all that money to countries where English is taught in schools as a foreign language. In other words, we would pay taxes to foreign countries so as to pay for English lessons there. I do hope that viewers are open-minded enough not to dismiss such an apparently bonkers plan out of hand. Just when you think that the world cannot get any more mad, something like this comes along and restores my faith in the essential loopiness of the modern world.